Okay, good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the ways in which I have tried to design and have my tiny house built to make it easy for me to use as a disabled person. So I'm showing you the outside first. The most recent addition to the tiny house is my porch. The porch is 36 inches in depth, which would be the amount you needed for a wheelchair if I were to put a ramp on it. It's only 24 inches high, which is the height of the tiny house, so I could ramp this if I needed to. Can you hear the crows? It's a little gray today, but it's about 55 degrees. So continuing inside, one of the features that I custom designed with the builder and also Sheldon Vogt with my disability in mind is the steps. The steps are deep, which is important for me as a disabled person. I have difficulty picking my feet up, so if the steps were short or shallow, that would be very difficult for me. We gave some thought to having the rise of the steps lower than normal. I don't think we ended up doing that. I walked up and down various heights of steps, and it turned out that I could successfully navigate these. As you can see, there is a rail. We wanted to put a rail on the wall as well, so I would have two rails. But the steps are fairly narrow, so I don't really need that second rail. I'm going to come around and show you how narrow they are. Because the flight of steps is narrow enough that if I needed to steady myself on the wall, I could do that. I went ahead and had it made with only one rail. A recent addition is the dark brown safety rail you see across my writing loft. I do have balance issues, so we wanted to have a rail there, but I wasn't sure what I wanted until I came across the idea of using reclaimed wood from my house in Kansas City, so we had it built here. Joseph, the carpenter who lives in the park, built it. Because I might fall, we anchored it to the 4x4 on one end, and it's not quite done. It will be anchored to the wall on the other end. Another concession to my disability was having my main sleeping area on the first floor of the tiny house. That's kind of a big deal because I don't really have a couch or other living comfortable area per se. As you can see, the futon is shorter than the platform. My ultimate goal is to have a big bolster that I could then put on the futon to really make it into a couch. Haven't got quite there yet. One of the things that is very hard for a disabled person is reaching electric plugs. Throughout my tiny house, Kevin Kitzmiller, the builder, put the electric plugs at a height that I could reach. As you can see, that's at almost windowsill height. Over here we have one that's almost at doorknob height, and it's the same way throughout the house. I had him put the plug by the stairs, the loft light switch. That's also at a height I can reach. If you can see, there's a plug at the other end of the windowsill. Again, in many homes, that electric outlet would be close to the floor, but I can't reach that. We have grounded plugs by the sink and at the other end of the counter. Those plugs also have USB ports in them, as does the plug by my bedside, which enables me to charge my phone without bending over to plug in a full charger. In planning the tiny house, I wanted to make sure that my washer-dryer combo that I had on the first floor at my house was able to be elevated. If you can see, there is a little door right here. That's where the vent is. At my house in Kansas City, the washer-dryer was on the floor, and I could not bend over to reach that. So we elevated it here so I could reach it. My little refrigerator is also elevated. A full-size refrigerator I always had with the freezer on the bottom, so I didn't have to bend routinely. Now I do have a pantry shelf under there. This is a little hard for me to reach, but I don't use these items very often. And as you can see, they are sliding out. They're able to slide out. In the shower, which is full of laundry right now, I have a bar to stabilize myself on that side, as well as a bar on this side. I even ordered a stand-up laundry clothes dryer that was taller than normal, so that I don't have to bend over too much. Again, we have an electric plug that's high enough up that I can use it. Unfortunately, there was no other power in the bathroom, so we had to add a outlet strip there for the fan of my composting toilet. But even at that, when Rick put it in, he put it somewhat higher so that I could reach it. Generally speaking, one of the most important things about living anywhere is that it is suitable for you. A person in a wheelchair could probably not use my tiny house. As you can see, the dishes are too high for a person in a wheelchair to reach, but they're not too high for me to reach. And that's really important, that if you decide to have a tiny house built, you take your own needs into consideration, as I try to take mine into consideration. The ceiling fan does have pull chains that activate it, but it also has light switches which are behind the secretary, and I can reach them. I could never reach that, but I can reach those. The upper storage is a little hard for me to reach. I have a little bench that didn't get here for some reason. I will bring it back with me, but even at that storage is not so high that I couldn't get it with a step stool. If you can see behind the secretary, I have a safety step stool that I use. Again, if I couldn't stand or walk, that wouldn't work for me. You'd have to have special, maybe shelves that pulled out. So if you're planning on tiny house living and you're disabled, think about what you can and cannot do and design it according to your needs. So that's my tiny house living as a disabled person, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks, and have a great day.